right, good morning, everyone. This is Brad Spencer from SpencerMarketingBlog.com, and I want to talk to you guys about one of my famous, or not so famous, I guess, business philosophies, which is my use of acronyms. And in this case, my use of the acronym AEO, which stands for Automation, Elimination, and Outsourcing. Okay, this is how I go through every task in my business. And one of the reasons why I do this, quite simply, is I don't like the question when people say, "How do I make more money?" Okay, I don't think that's a very good question at all. And I'll tell you why I don't think that's a very good question. And I'll explain how I use AEO to answer this question. Okay, the problem with how do I make more money is that it kind of goes against systems theory. And systems theory basically is you want to make the most output for the least amount of inputs. Okay. So for me, I like to focus, and in our case, as internet business people, our biggest input is time and thought. So I try to come in and use as little time and thought as possible to get certain tasks done. And I'm constantly trying to use less and less and less and less and less. And the reason behind that is that it creates a work vacuum, which is what I basically termed that if you can do, if you can make 100 units and it costs you 50 inputs, whatever that may be, and then you can go to 45 inputs and then 40 and then 35 and then so on and so forth all the way down, you have all those extra capacity to work to do something else. So by default, you'll eventually end up producing more because you have all this extra time to do work as opposed to thinking about it. Okay, so what I like to do to answer the question, how do I make more money? I ask another question, which is how can I earn the same amount of money by doing less? And then usually by default, in short order, you will make more money overall. It's kind of like ask the big question by asking another kind of roundabout way to give you the result and the answer to the first. And my methodology for this is quite simple: automate, eliminate, outsource, AEO. Okay. So what I like to do first and foremost, if I have a 10-step process, for example, I like to automate everything in the beginning. Okay. Now, what I mean by automate is not necessarily using software or some other tool in and of itself. Um, my main way to automate things is by the use of templates, specifically HTML templates, cloning WordPress posts, for download pages or sales pages or something of that sort. Um, and basically, the reason for that is that if your business is operating on the same and you're operating in a highly effective and efficient business, which is not very common in the modern world, things usually are maybe efficient but not effective. You're going to need to do a lot of the same things over and over. You're going to need to have terms of service on all your pages. You're going to need to have support desk links. You're going to need to have affiliate page or affiliate program links, all these sorts of things. And that type of stuff doesn't really change from product to product. And so instead of redoing it every time and actually spending time working on it, you can sit there and template that stuff into your pages and then like change the download links for a new product or change the title of the page um, for your new product or whatever it's called, or whatever task you're working on. Okay, so that's my main use of automation that saves me tons and tons and tons of time. Next, I like to eliminate things. Okay, if I have a 10-step process, most of the time I can cut that down to a 7-step process by just simply getting better at things and consolidating. This automatically creates a huge work vacuum for me and allows me to work a lot more efficiently. So between automation and elimination, I can, for the most part, get rid of most of the boring, hard, or irritating tasks, which came about because I hated doing them and I couldn't do them. So I said, either I figure out a way to do these better, or I decide that I'm not going to produce the content that my brain says. And I was like, well, I don't like either of those options, so I'm going to just automate and eliminate these things and do it anyway, and then just brute force it. And turns out I didn't have to brute force it. It just worked a lot more effectively and efficiently at the same time. Okay. So between those two things, that'll take care of about 99.9% of the business. It really does, for a lot of the things that we have to do. The last thing though is outsourcing. So if I can't automate it and I can't eliminate it, a lot of times I'll try to outsource it as much as possible. Now this is an area that I'm really focusing on a lot now, because I've gotten pretty good at the automation part. I've got pretty good at the elimination part, but I'm not really good at the outsourcing part, to be honest with you. I outsource like my optimized press installations. I outsource research, but I haven't really been able to find somebody who can help create content or do my mind maps for me based on my, brain dumping. I have so many ideas that's why I use mind maps to organize it all and to have something coherent to record off of when I do videos or my talk show or webinars or anything like that. I haven't really been able to find somebody who is both cost efficient, because I like working with business people. I don't like paying fees for things. I like paying people equity based on what they produce. I think it produces a lot better working environment. And I love paying people a lot more if the work that they do makes me a lot of money in return. But I haven't really been able to do this. So this is where I'm focusing on. I've gotten a lot of the basic task type stuff outsourced, but I'm really struggling with content. So this is the types of stuff where you can see, like, full disclosure, like what I have in my own methodology. You're never perfect with what you're doing. And this is a good way to answer the question, how do I make more money? Because that's what we're all in this for, is how to make more money. And the best way to go about that is to say, how can I make the same amount of money by working less? Because if you can do something in half the amount of time, you can obviously work the same amount of time and produce twice as much just by, simple arithmetic. And it's actually a lot easier to go about this way than to try to figure out new systems to make money. Just do better with the ones you have now and make more and do more of them. And the way you do that is the methodology of AEO, which is automate, eliminate, outsource. So I want to thank you for watching this video, and please post below if you have any questions or thoughts. And I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you very much.